sticking around for, which is something my dad says frequently. Learned something from Catherine said about seppuku. I didn't know the order, left, right, down, up. I think I would have just died after left. Just been done. My dad would have been looking down at me like, yeah, that's what happens when you go left. So vote for Trump. I am a disappointment to my dad. I'm genuinely amazed by how much I like all the people who've been on the lineup so far. I know, I gotta tell you, I'm ashamed to say it's not the norm for me statistically to like a lot of women. I was president of my sorority, and I'm ashamed to say, like a certain president, I hated most of my constituents. I dated a guy who, a couple years later, I found out keeps an Excel spreadsheet of all the female comedians he's hooked up with.
Oh my God.
I know. The moment I heard about it, I was like, oh my God, I'm on an all-female lineup? You guys get inside baseball and comedy, I love it. I know I look like a really strong feminist. I'm pretty lazy. My boyfriend is embarrassing. He's a better feminist than I am. And I don't know if you know anything about feminism, but it does in fact hurt the cause when a man can do your job better than you. The first time I brought him home, I apologized. I stopped him before we hooked up. I said, I'm so sorry. We have to use condoms because I'm not on the pill. He said, good. You shouldn't be. It's horrible for women. I was like, I knew that. After we hooked up, he whispers to me, hey, you should probably go pee so you don't get a UTI. I was like, I knew that. He was like, oh, then go back to sleep. Sorry, I woke you up. It's just embarrassing when someone knows your things better than you do. Like, first time we went down on me, sorry to be graphic, everybody, but I stopped him. I was like, hey, I'm sorry this is taking so long. And he goes, your pleasure matters just as much as mine. And I was like, okay, that one I know. I'm embarrassed because during the Me Too movement and the pandemic, there was a big move to be this perfect feminist. Women were judging you, you weren't absolutely perfect. And I found out I can get by being kind of a bandwagon feminist the way I get by being a bandwagon football fan. Because I don't know any of the key players, but if I show up, I can drink beer and yell. I was at the women's march like, yeah, get up! She kind of gets it. I'm just worried about labeling myself a feminist because I'm not always educated on the issues of the day, and sometimes I worry I'm not really in it for the cause and I'm just looking for a fight. Like I was walking down the bike path in my neighborhood and this guy on a bike rides by, reaches out his hand, and comes this close from grazing my midsection as he rides by. And I looked around because I was like, man, to anyone with a cell phone and a camera who would be watching that, I'd be perfectly within my rights if he had touched me to turn to him and go, bam, bam, knock him off the bike, and then be like, I think feminists get a bad rap these days. Everyone's like, oh, feminists, what a bunch of man-haters, what a bunch of lesbians. And I'm like, hey, that is not true. Because I've never in my life before that moment ever fantasized so hard about wanting a man to touch me. You guys think I'm frigid. I love my boyfriend. He and I have been together 5 years, but it's hard being in a non-traditional relationship. We're both in entertainment. We're not trying to have kids, and it's weird. We're trying to build a home together in LA of all places. It's very weird. It's hard to build a life in a place like that. Like the other day, I saw an advertisement for vegan meat, on the front of some dude's gym shorts. Like, this is the kind of values we are living amongst. My boyfriend is an excellent cook. I love it. 'Cause there's certain things I'm not going to be able to give him if we don't have kids. Sometimes I think, I'm never going to give him that experience of looking, when a guy looks at his pregnant wife and thinks, oh, I did that to her. I don't let him put a child inside me, but it makes him glow with pride when I let him put his cooking inside me. He'll look at me in a food coma on the couch like, I did that to her. And sometimes I wonder if it's like a biological male thing, if I'm ever going to look at him with that same glowing pride, and then I see him taking my hair out of the shower curtain. And I'm like, I did that to him. We're in a new era, a new age of alternative parenting. Dogs can be your child, and I love it. I love it. Thank God for Jennifer Aniston paving the way. I fucking love that there's different ideas of what it means to be a mom, because one time I ate so much of my boyfriend's cooking that I asked him to rub my belly. And we were at the airport. And a woman comes up and says, oh, what are you doing? I said, about 6 hours. You know what? It's weird. We live in California, but it's kind of weird what is recognized as a child or not. There's a lot of debate about whether a child that has not been delivered yet is considered a baby, and I tested that when I took the carpool lane on the 405 with my Chipotle in my lap. Cop pulled me over. He was like, "Where's your passenger, ma'am?" And I'm like, "Right here." Unborn child. He's like, "Ma'am, that did not come out of you." I was like, "Not yet." Look, a food baby is just like a regular baby, okay? At some point, you're wondering, how did I get here again? I cannot drink at the holiday party this much anymore. Oh well, at least I can flush it. Okay, I am the most ungrateful girlfriend ever because my partner is wonderful. He cooks for me all the time. He cooks real, actual meals, doesn't take shortcuts. I wish he did. Because it takes so long for him to make me a delicious meal. Which you can see why I can't say that, because I sound like an ungrateful bitch. But the longer it takes him, I start getting hangrier and more frustrated at why he offered in the first place to make me a meal that's hours away from now. Whoever thought gratitude and appreciation were worth having for your partner did so on a full stomach. That's why there's prayers. Thank God for the meal we're about to have right in front of us. I just get frustrated and I have to hold it in because obviously that's me. You can't be mad at someone who's doing something nice for you. But after a certain point, it's just like, are you still doing something nice or are you testing me? After a certain point, I'm like, maybe I should just take care of myself. Honey, I appreciate you cooking for me. I appreciate everything you do for me. But should I maybe just have a bowl of Cheerios? It's a little bit cruel. It'd be like if he promised sex and then just kept pushing it off for 6 months. And finally I have to be like, honey, do you mind if I just have a bowl of Cheerios? And you can't demand customer service from someone who is not being paid, from someone who's a volunteer. That'd be really shitty to do. That'd be like if he was like, oh, this is a really subpar blowjob. So every time I find myself getting upset with him over something nice that he's promised to do, I'm just like, Maxi, tip him. You guys been wonderful.